Josh Taylor versus Jose Ramirez for Undisputed at junior welterweight, super lightweight, 140 pounds. This fight will be taking place in the first 3 months of 2020. That's according to Bob Arum. First quarter of 2020. Yes, indeed. So Bob Arum is planning on scheduling Josh Taylor versus Jose Ramirez for the first quarter of next year. And he says that both Ramirez and Josh Taylor have agreed that the winner of this undisputed fight at 140 will face the WBO mandatory and defend versus Jack Catterall from England. Bob Arum is also hoping that this fight could happen in front of a live audience in early 2021. Bob Arum says that they'll need a vaccine to have been made ready by early 2021 in order for this fight to happen in front of a live audience. And the likelihood of that happening, good luck, Bob Arum. But if there so happens to be no vaccine by early 2021, then the fight might not happen until the second or third quarter of 2020. So the way it looks like Bob Arum is talking about, he wants this fight to happen in front of a live audience pending vaccine coming out for this COVID-19. I don't know what that means because last I checked, fellas like Gervonta Davis and Leo Santa Cruz on October 31st, in about 2 weeks, will be fighting in front of a pay-per-view. Will be fighting in front of a live audience on their pay-per-view fight at the Alamo Dome in San Antonio, Texas. Okay, so I don't know what all this vaccine talk is about, you know what I mean? But the truth of the matter is, the WBC and WBO champion Jose Ramirez, in my opinion, is even still lucky to be a WBC, is lucky to be a champion. Period. I thought he lost his last fight versus Victor Postol. You know what I mean? Postol I thought did great work, outboxing him, keeping him at the end of his jab, throwing his right hand, landing it, making Ramirez look very amateurish. You know what I mean? But I know the reason that they gave the victory to the man Ramirez. Ramirez is very popular over there in his home city of Fresno, California. You know what I'm saying? Them fellas be selling out crowds. He reminds me of Tony the Tiger Lopez, how he used to sell out the Arco Arena over there in Sacramento, California in the early 90s. You know what I mean? But Josh Taylor, really and truly, him being the foreign fighter, if this fight does happen in the United States, he can't be allowing these fights with Jose Ramirez to go the distance. You know what I'm saying? Josh Taylor can knock fellas out. He has before. He has a high KO ratio for the 15 fights that he has in his career. But the guy, Jose Ramirez, has got some gift decisions, like I said, versus Postal. And also last year, a fight that I had a draw. But if I saw anybody winning that fight, would be Jose Zepeda. When Jose Ramirez won a majority decision, you know what I'm saying? You check it and got a very wide scorecards. But at the end of the day, Jack Catterall, I'm going to read some quotes from what Bob Arum had to say about Jack Catterall. He said, quote, Jack Catterall, whom, mind you, is the WBO mandatory for Jose Ramirez strap. And if I'm not mistaken, it looks like he might have taken some step-aside money in order for this undisputed fight to be viable and for them to make this fight for early 2021. So Bob Arum says about Jack Catterall, he says, quote, Jack Catterall is a terrific fighter. We're going to arrange for him to have a fight maybe on that card. We'll see, and then fight the Ramirez-Taylor winner in a short period of time. Both fighters agreed to that, so it was a sensible thing to do. The public wants to see these two kings, Josh Taylor and Ramirez, fight each other, and then Jack will cash in to fight the winner. So that's the prudent thing to do. It was a great cooperation on all sides, so I'm grateful for that. End quote, Bob Arum. So Jack Catterall, no Jack Catterall, man. I seen the guy fight, and ain't nothing special about the guy. I think the last time I seen him fight was probably against what's that guy's name, O'Hara Davis, and that he said he would. Jose Zepeda won his fight to become the mandatory when he fought the guy Ivan Barancek for the WBC. If he fights Catterall and he loses, then he's definitely out of the picture for lobbying for a world title shot. You know what I'm saying? Really and truly, I wouldn't be surprised if the winner of the undisputed fight, whether it's Jose Ramirez or Josh Taylor, is probably advised to drop or vacate the WBO title in order to face a guy like Jose Zepeda, who's gonna be the fighter, uh, who's gonna be the fighter. I'm not fighter of the year, but in the fight of the year for 2020, that fight versus Ivan Barancek. You know what I mean? A lot of people, they saw the fight, whether it was watching it live or maybe watching a copy or replay or seeing highlights of it on Twitter. So they'll be more familiar with the Jose Zepeda rather than the Jack Catterall. You know what I mean? And that's just the American public. Now, if Josh Taylor wins a fight, that fight could be made over there in England between him and Jack Catterall, and it would probably be do decent numbers. Not decent, it would probably do very good numbers, especially the fact if Josh Taylor can come back to England or the United Kingdom with 4 straps plus the ring and lineal. You know what I'm saying? You check it, that fight versus Barancek and Zepeda was the fight of the year, no question. I believe so. You know what I mean? So a man like Jose Ramirez, if he does win the undisputed fight, don't be surprised if he vacates that WBO belt. You know what I'm saying? And probably gets to fight the man Jose Zepeda again because that'll what the man I'm sure that's what Bob Arum will advise him to do. You know what I mean? So Bob Arum wants this fight to with Jose Ramirez and Josh Taylor to be in front of a live audience. You know what I mean? I'll read some quotes on his thoughts of this fight being in front of a live crowd. He said, quote, within the first 3 months of next year, excuse me, Bob Arum was asked about when Josh Taylor and Jose Ramirez will fight, and he said, quote, within the first 3 months of next year. We're hoping by then to get a vaccine so that we can do it in front of a big audience, whether that's in the UK or the United States on either side of the Atlantic. End quote. So this is my suggestion as far as if Bob Arum, take that fight to Texas. You know, it's a big Hispanic contingent over there in Texas. That's an option. Because otherwise, if they don't have this fight in front of a live audience or they're going to wait, they'll be waiting until probably summer or maybe later of 2021. And I ain't trying to wait for that long. And I'm sure neither are the fighters, Josh Taylor and the man Jose Ramirez. You know what I'm saying? The Alamo Dome is open for business, man. Alamo Dome is a great location over there in San Antonio for boxing. Just go watch, I don't know if Robert Koroga versus Prince Akeem Anifuwashi was over there, and that Maidana was in the Alamo Dome in San Antonio, Texas. And look what we got. We got a classic that we still talk about till this day. So it looks like the undisputed fight is going to be on. Date, venue, TBA. And I'm glad that Jack Catterall fell back and let these two titans at 140 pounds, the number one and number two guy, get it on. We shall see where the fight will be at, what venue, what date, and how soon. I'm hoping they could do this fight sooner than later. But big ups to Jack Catterall for stepping aside. And big ups to both participants, WBO, WBC, IBF, and WBA titles all on the line, including the Lineal and the Ring Magazine title. 140 pounds been putting in work for a little while now. You know what I'm saying? Whether it was Bud Crawford in an undisputed fight, You know what I'm saying? We've had some very good fights before that. You know, we had Danny Garcia with two straps, WBC and WBA, and the ring and lineal titles. You know, before that we had Tim Bradley holding three straps in the at the 140 WBC, WBO, and WBC, WBO. He beat Devin Alexander, and I think for the IBF strap as well. You know what I'm saying? Yes, indeed. You check it. So 140 pounds, 140 pounds, they've been putting in work over the last decade, and even in the previous decade when we did see undisputed fight between Zab Judah and Kostya Tszyu. You know what I mean? So big ups to 140 pounds. We shall see, man. Looking forward to this fight. Josh Taylor versus Jose Ramirez. I got more money on Josh Taylor. That was even before the Jose Ramirez fight. I'm sorry, Jose Ramirez versus Victor Postar. I just always rated the man Josh Taylor from day one. I've been hounding this guy, saying that I even said he's gonna be the first man to stop what's the guy's name? Miguel Vasquez, you know what I mean? So we shall see, man. Looking forward to this fight. Big up to Top Rank Barbarian. We're gonna give us another undisputed fight like he did with the man Bud Crawford at 140. But I believe this one will be more competitive than Bud Crawford versus Julius Ndongo. Be Marsh Boxley, touch the comments, and I'm out of here. Peace.